despite popular belief, good games don't start with people having a beer and saying, I have an idea. So one of the first things that we did was started studying, all right, so how do we come up with the idea?
Welcome to the very first episode of YUNITY Talks, comYunitY Gaming, the podcast where we dive deep into the captivating world of video games and tech news, bringing together enthusiasts from all corners of the gaming universe. We are your hosts, Mickey
and Razvan.
And today, we're thrilled to have two very special guests joining us from Amber Studio. First, we have the remarkable Ana, a mastermind in people operations at Amber Studio. Ana brings a unique perspective on how human resources and team dynamics play a crucial role in the gaming industry. Her insights into fostering a creative and productive workplace are invaluable, especially in an industry as dynamic as gaming. Joining Ana is the incredibly talented Gabriel, the head of studio at Amber Studio. Gabriel's expertise in leading the creative vision for games is something to behold. His ability to merge artistic creativity with cutting-edge technology is not only inspiring, but also instrumental in pushing the boundaries of what's possible in game development. Together, we're set for a fascinating conversation. We'll be exploring the latest in gaming technology, the evolution of game design, and how studios like Amber are innovating in the industry. We'll also delve into impacts of emerging technologies like VR and AR in gaming, and discuss the future of interactive entertainment. So buckle up, listeners. Whether you're a hardcore gamer, a tech enthusiast, or just straight up love play video games, get ready to embark on a journey through the digital world and going forward into the real one. So, without further ado, let's get started.
So, the first question will be, how Amber started?
A long time ago.
Long time ago. But first of all, thank you for the invitation.
Yeah.
It's really an honor to start these projects with you, and thank you very much again for the invitation.
Yeah, and oh my God, the setup that you guys have, and it's so professional. I mean, the people behind the screen don't see this. Where's the camera? It's fucking amazing. Yeah, I mean, you guys have the lights and you have the script and you have the, oh my God, yes, thank you very much. This is an honor. Also, this is, like, I haven't done something live in so many years. I do have some, I'm a bit nervous. But Amber Studio, right?
Yeah.
How did it start? Do you want to tell the story? Should I tell the story?
I think we can tell it from two perspectives.
Yeah,
I'm
let's do
a
that.
people ops
Yeah.
person, you are a game developer
Yeah.
at the end of the day. We've joined this company in the first or at the end of the second year. It's a really nice story. It's a successful story because it really started with two people in one room apartment. There were definitely two game programmers. But behind them, we have to mention that business speaking, this company was founded by Mihai Pohonțu and Dragoș Hâncu. It was, I think, some kind of a nice to have project during their life that they were living during those times. They really wanted a game development company. They wanted to develop their own games. They wanted to be present in Romania with a game development studio, an independent one. And since then, I don't know, fast forward from two people in one room apartment, today more than 1,000 people around the globe.
Wow.
I don't know what I could tell.
And it was first two people in one room apartment.
Yes.
And then it was two people in a 2-room apartment.
Yes.
And then it organically
The rooms
grew. Yeah, and we started like as a service company.
Yes.
This is what we did first, and we were lucky enough. And I think this also has something to do with kind of like the people that started this were veterans. So Dragoșencu, industry veteran, ex-EA, Mihai Pohonțu, industry veteran, ex-EA, ex-Jam Dad, was with Disney as well. He was with Samsung as well. So right, and then the whole crew that was part of the initial team. You've got your Marius Dacu, Julian Anton,
Vladan Ghelahar.
Vladan Ghelahar. There's so many people. We just turned 10
Yes.
recently.
Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and we gave out the gifts.
Yes.
How many people turned 10?
11 people
11
actually.
people,
Yes. Most of them game programmers, I
Yeah.
have to admit.
Yeah.
But yes, one artist, game programmers, Dragoș Hâncu definitely, one person from facility who is still with us after 10 years. We
Yeah.
managed not to get her really crazy up until now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it speaks a bit to the kind of like the DNA of the company back then, because we were a service company. We were doing a lot of ports, and we were lucky enough to work with some major game developers. And how these things start, and I wasn't there. These are just stories. I joined 1 year later. I was employee number 37. Lucky number 37, I think. We'll see about that. So it basically started as, and this was an ongoing story up to our first game. Amber would take, because there were so many veterans in this. Amber was able to take all these little to no time to do the project type of project, right? So we have 3 months to launch. It would normally take 5 months to do this. Oh, we'll take it. We'll do it, right? So it was wild times. I joined, I want to say 4 months prior to you joining,
Yes.
maybe. Yeah.
2014.
Yeah. And back then we were looking to go into product development. So we had figured out outsourcing, well, not outsourcing, but services. Outsourcing is such a hard word. We had figured out services. We had figured out porting. Oh boy, there's something. And then we said, you know what? Let's. Dragoș approached me with this, and Mihai, and they said, let's go and make games. So this is. I was with Gameloft back then. And I really enjoy Gameloft. That's actually where I started my career. It's great people, and these guys were just a startup. I knew Dragoș. He was my superior. He was my boss at Gameloft. Well, he was producer. I was a QA engineer. I was a QA tester back then, and that's how I met him. And then he was my boss at EA. That's actually where I met all of these wonderful people. So yeah, they approached me and they said, let's make games. We're making all this money out of services. Let's also make games. Now I was not the first creative to join. There were 3 other very creative people that are still in the industry right now, and that we are very thankful for going with us through the first years of product development. Cristi Popa, he's the art director for. He's one of the art directors at Amber right now. He is working in the name of the studio is Avalon, which is probably the best studio.
Because you're
my
leading
studio.
it. Okay.
So he's the OG art director of Amber. We were lucky enough to work with the very wonderful Ksenia Pamphil, accomplished comic book artist and mother and game maker, absolutely amazing. And Raul Paraschiv, right? My brother from Gameloft. We actually went into game design kind of like at the same time, 17 years ago. That's how we joined the industry. So these guys were there before me, and they were making these prototypes, and they were trying to do something. figure out their own game. And you guys probably know this. You guys play a lot of games. You guys are connected to the industry. It's very difficult to make your own game, and it's also extremely difficult to publish your own game, just because you need to do acquisition and you need a budget that's at least as big as the development budget. Not that the development budget is small, like in any way. So it was a bit of a conundrum. So what we decided when I joined was that we were still gonna go for work for hire, and we approached Disney. We approached Disney Interactive. We had all these collaborations with them in the past year, and we wanted to make a match 3. I was crazy about match 3s back then. I still am crazy about match 3s right now. I like match 3s. I like casual games. We still make this. It's one of the reasons why I joined Amber. I wanted to make casual games. I think casual games are just probably the quintessential of games, but that's something that maybe we touch on later on. So we ended up doing Cinderella Freefall. And we did Cinderella Freefall in 5 months. With absolutely it was a team of 4, but we probably I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I listed a game designer, 2 artists, so no engineer. Right, so and that's not to say that we did it without an engineer. Our friend and brother Stefan Poda joined us, and then our other friend and brother Teo Ionescu joined the team. And we ended up shipping Cinderella Freefall, which was a match 3 game that launched with the movie. And while we were doing this, we were also recruiting. We were also buying computers. We were also looking for a place to kind of like we needed a space for our studio because we didn't have enough space. So it was just this crazy these crazy 5 months of doing everything. I remember that after we shipped, I just wanted to go to sleep. I was like, I'm done with this. So our team grew from 4 individuals. The 3 guys that I'm mentioning here, it peaked at, I want to say 12 people. Yeah, I think so. It peaked at 12 people. It was such a rush. It was I still remember the first review that we got on the App Store. It said it was by a user that had the name handle Kelly Dog. I don't know if this person was a dog or
Kelly?
Or Kelly.
Or a robot.
Or a robot, maybe it was a bot, I don't know. But it said, I'll never forget this. Great game. My daughter loves it. Also our dog. So, also our dog, and I was thinking maybe also our dog is doing them. Does our dog also love? Anyway, it's one of those things, right? That you only get, and I think everyone that's made a game probably remembers their first review, their first magazine review. This is mine, and I was so happy because it was a 5-star review.
Congratulations.
Right. So we ended up roughly with 10 million downloads, which back then was not amazing, but it was really good. The game stayed live for, I want to say 4 years. But what was absolutely wonderful is that we had finally made a game. So because this is the struggle, right? And we still were and we will forever be a service company. And maybe we talk about this at some point as well, but for a service company, the portfolio is incredibly important. Because if you're going to approach someone and say, hey, I can make this game for you, they're going to go, well, have you made this game before? But whenever we approach a publisher or not a publisher, but a possible partner, we kind of like approach them with here's our portfolio of games. And thank God it's grown 10 times since, maybe more.
10 years, 10 times.
Yeah, yeah. So so then we did more match 3 games. We did live operations for a bunch of Disney games, Disney Dream Treats. We did Frozen. We did some operations for Frozen Free Fall, which to this day remains Disney's most profitable game.
Wow.
Game. That's how we met one of our friends, the current VP, no, the current Scott, the current chief product manager,
Yes.
the very wonderful Mr. Scott Humphreys. Holla. What else? So yeah, and then we kept growing and growing and growing, just because we finally had a game. We finally opened up the floodgates. So we had proven ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We did after that. We did a game for the Apple Watch. We all know what the Apple Watch was for games. It was nothing. Right. We did. What else did we do? Oh my God, we did Tetris, which was really fun. We did our own game. We eventually got to do our own game, and there's a whole history of Amber games that I won't get into. But we did get to do our own game, our first own game, which was Link Twin. And that game actually won an award, and we're so surprised. It was the first. It was our dream had come true. We were finally making an indie game. So there's a thing about people in the industry. All the people that are not indies want to make an indie game,
Mm-hmm.
and all the indies want to fucking
AAA.
make it and make AAA.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we were somewhere in the middle, but we were living on an. I mean, this is 2016, I think. So the mirage of indie games is still around. I don't know if you guys remember the indie apocalypse that
No.
happened. Yeah.
No.
So there was this phenomenon.
Hollow Knight and all the.
Yeah. And then everything got crushed. But we still wanted to make an indie game. So we experimented for almost 6 months. We first made a game jam. We organized a game jam. Because there were so many people in the company that wanted to be part of a game jam. And I get ahead of myself. Maybe we have more questions. Maybe you guys have more questions, but I do want to tell you the story of the game jam. So there were so many people that were that had made games for at least 10 years in the company, maybe more. And they had never been part of a game jam. So we wanted to kind of like, let's party, right? Because this is what game jams are. They're like a festival. They're like a party of game developers. So we
It
ended up.
doesn't look like this.
It doesn't look like a party, does it?
No, it's hard work there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we made it. We built it together,
Yes.
right? Yeah. We had to find the space and find the computers, and that's another story in itself.
And it takes 24 hours in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, you lock the person's
You lock
in
the
the
person
room
and
and
throw away the key.
throw away the
come
key
back in
and
24
come.
hours.
Yes. It doesn't look like a party, but whoa. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were there for 24 hours. What's the name of the place where we went?
Club.
Something.
Yes, 99.
Yeah. Piazza España. Yeah.
Yes.
The comedy place.
Yes,
Comedy club,
exactly.
right? Like a pub.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we rented that space over there. We brought our own PCs. We brought our own pizza. We brought our own drinks. Ana was kind enough to visit, so we go in there for 24 hours. Ana was visiting every
I was
now
bringing
and then.
food.
Bringing food.
Are you alive? Yes. Food for you.
And we made 5 games.
6? Maybe?
Six, maybe, yeah. The theme of the game jam, I'll never forget this. The theme of the game jam, we put a lot of themes, a lot of words, and we rolled them up in little tickets. We put them in a
Ball.
bowl, and we extract one. I'll never forget this. The theme of the game jam was imitation. And yeah, we were in there for 24 hours. Three very talented guys made this prototype of what turns to be LinkedIn. We loved it. We looked at it. We were amazed. Everyone was playing it. Like even we were super tired and we still wanted to play. I remember going home after being awake for 24 hours, sleeping for maybe 12 hours, then going back in the office on Monday, and everyone was playing LinkedIn. I'm like, okay, there's something about this game.
Wow.
And that's how LinkedIn came to be. We turned it into, we then made it bigger. We added the story. That is my only game as a creative director. Funny enough, I was going through a breakup back then, and the theme of the game is the mourning process that a couple goes through. And we didn't make any money. We didn't make any money with it. It was super fun. So we decided to take it to the big indie pitch at Pocket Gamer 2017, maybe. And lo and behold, we come in second place.
Congrats.
And we got a check for $2,000. I think, no, 20. I don't know.
No. Two.
No, I mean, I think $2,000 didn't even pay
The pizza.
the pizza.
For the entire 1 year of development.
Yeah, or for the game jam.
No, definitely.
Yeah. But that was, and like, there's so many stories that I could tell you guys, because kind of like each title that we made, each title that we shipped has a bunch of stories tied to it. But yeah, that's the story of our first original game. We then made other original games. We also made more games for our partners. I don't know how many games we've made up to now. I have no clue. But yeah, that's the early Amber Studio in short. Yeah. Did I miss anything?
Well,
Incredible.
who knows?
And speaking of development, could you please tell us what are the steps to actually creating a video game? From the idea on paper or in your head to actually putting it on the shelf or digital storefronts. And you mentioned all these IPs that you've had the privilege of working with.
Yeah.
How does copywriting work in the video game industry?
Yeah. It's a very good question. Let's start with the process. Let's start with the process. So, despite popular belief, good games don't start with people having a beer and saying, "I have an idea."
That's true.
It never starts like that. One of the first things that we struggled with at Amber in a kind of like in the position of an independent studio, so no headquarters in the US or France or whatever, no portfolio of games right, so there's no Splinter Cell 2, there's no FIFA 12. There's like, you have nothing there, no IP, you have no idea. You have no idea about how to create ideas. So one of the first things that we did was we started studying, all right, so how do we come up with ideas? Because we did, I think, the first, speaking of how you come up with ideas, we tried going into a room and coming up with like brainstorming. And this was the first, these were my first 3 months at Gameloft, where we were all getting into rooms and we were struggling to find an idea, but it was essentially the blank sheet syndrome, where you have to start with something but you don't know what to start with. So later down the line, we are joined by this very talented designer. His name is Bogdan Dinka. But we affectionately call him Capitanul Blan. very talented game designer. He's also a musician. He plays drums and plays guitar. It's like he's got dreadlocks. I don't know if he still has dreadlocks. Like
No.
you look at him and you go like, all right, this guy's a creative. So with his help, we discover this. We discovered this process. We call it the ideation process, but it's essentially design thinking. It's distilled design thinking. And we start understanding about here's how you do your research, here's how you come up with a set of suppositions, here's how you test them, here's how it and we kind of like we take the design thinking process and we strip it down to what we now call the triple diamond method. And it's the triple diamond method says you first, before you start working on your product, so before having vision, you need to serve you have to identify a need.
A need.
A need,
Okay.
right? Especially because we're building product. We're not talking about inspirational creativity. We're talking about useful creativity. Someone once said that creativity, I forget his name, but creativity is essentially problem solving in that someone finds useful, that serves someone's need. I think his name is, this person that I'm referring to, I think his name is Nick Skillicorn, and he has a TED Talk on YouTube where he talks about why creativity has to serve a purpose. Especially creativity in the day and age of product where we actually have to make money with it. So we start off with what's the need. We then start researching and we understand what the landscape is, what are the other products in the landscape, is there competition, is there anyone else that has solved this problem. And we say, you know what, there's this need in the market for a match 3 game or a first-person shooter or etc. It can be anything. Here's who's doing it, and here's how we think we could make it better. Here's how we think we could make it useful. So, before actually I get ahead of myself, the first question is, we know what these guys are doing. How could we make it more useful? How could we make it better? And then we come up, and this is the kind of like the second diamond where we come up with, well, here's all these ideas on how we could make it better. Here's all the answers to this challenge of how we could make this product better, useful. Essentially, what's the solution to this problem that we have? And then thirdly, then the product development cycle itself begins, and it goes through having a concept, so kind of like consolidating the answer to the question in art direction, technical direction, game design at a high level, kind of write everything down. Here's what we think this game should look like. Here's how we think this game should feel like. Blah blah blah. We call this the concept stage. There's an intermediate stage that's called the prototype stage, and this is usually the place where if there's something that we're unsure of, we want to test it, see if it's fun. So had we now started to make a match 3 game, we know that match 3 games are fun. We wouldn't prototype that. Now, if we were to start and to make a first-person shooter that's based on music, right? That's something that we would want to test. Like, how does that go? I actually think, I don't know if you guys have seen it. I don't remember the name, but there is actually a first-person shooter game that recently came out, and when you shoot your gun, it plays the drums or it plays a guitar riff.
Something similar, Hi-Fi Rush, if you know, something similar to that.
So. I think so, maybe, yeah. Well, but it's like that kind of game. That kind of game, you want to prototype it first. Before you take it to production, before you start investing money into it, you have to prove, we want to prove that it's fun. And then the final stages are essentially scaling up your idea. So adding content, adding more mechanics, adding more of everything, and then taking it to launch. There's a new paradigm that is emerging. Well, it's been out there for at least 15 years now. with the emergence of the App Store and the Google Play Store and etc. Now games are being put live very soon in their development process, just so we can test them in live and see their KPIs and improve on that. That's the game development framework in kind of like in short. So it goes from, all right, let's start ideating on this. Let's identify the need. Let's identify how we serve that need. Let's see if it's fun, if our solution for that need is fun, right? That's a prototype and everything, and then let's build a game. And then there was a second
Copywriting.
Copywriting. So copywriting is, and I think it's a broader subject, which is intellectual property, right?
Licensing
And intellectual property and everything. So this essentially boils down to service models. There's owners out there who are willing to lend their service model to a game maker for a part of the profit. There's license owners who will finance someone to do a game with their IP, but then they take more of the money they make. So there's not a single way of doing it. There's multiple ways of doing it, and it usually boils down to, number one, the scale of the IP, right? And there's IPs, by the way. There's IPs that no one wants to make games with. They just don't work. And I think like very maybe like very popular IPs, it's very difficult. It would be very difficult to make a game. What's the name of the lady, the blonde lady that has a talk show in the US? Ellen DeGeneres? Yeah. It'd be very difficult to make a game. I mean, she's a huge brand. It'd be very difficult to make a game for her. It's the kind of thing that if you look at the overlap between people who play games, and I mean, who knows, maybe right now there's someone making a hell of a game, right? But if you look at the overlap of people who play games with the overlap of her audience, and it's not only audience, but it's kind of like her values, and it's the aesthetic, and it's kind of like everything that she is, because it's a brand, right? There's just no overlap. It's an amazing brand. It could make amazing games, but how do you turn that into a game? It's very difficult. So and that's kind of like one extreme. And then there's the other extreme, which is Star Wars. There's so many games that we could make with a Star Wars IP. And it's a spectrum. So I guess it's be careful about everyone. Be careful about what IP you decide to, what brand you decide to put on your game. So some brands are stronger in the gaming space. Some brands are not. And it really kind of boils down to that. It boils down to the developer's capability of making a appealing concept based on that brand, and the brand's power boils down to that. And then everything else becomes a negotiation.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm gonna drink some water because I feel like I've been talking for...
So since we talked about copyright and finding a way to make a game, the next question will be, which will be the future? What consoles will be the future, or we will be on PC more, or mobile, web free maybe, AR or VR?
Actually, this is one of your favorite questions.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I've been making mobile games for the past 19 years, soon to be 20. I think mobile is still the future.
We've seen some nice phones for gaming with cooling and everything.
Right?
They're like PCs.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know if it's necessarily about. No, hang on. Before we
Yeah.
talk about mobile games, I want to make some statements. So I don't know enough about Web3. I definitely don't know enough about Web3 game. We've pitched Web3 games. I was part of a team that developed concepts for Web3 games. I still, however, don't know Web3, and for the life of me, I honestly don't understand why people would play a game in order to make money. It's just, in my mind, that doesn't make sense. I understand gambling. I think that makes a lot of sense. I understand cash rewards. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that games are intrinsically based on people's needs to relax and disconnect. And when you add something on top of it, like cryptocurrency or NFTs or something along those lines, it turns into something that is no longer about having fun. There's this guy who wrote a book. His name is. The name of the book is. I collected to show you. Okay. So the name of the book is Homo Ludens, and his name is something Huizinga. I'm sorry, I forget the name of the author. But like, if anyone's watching this, you can Google Homo Ludens, and he makes an argument about how games are competition, games are rituals, games are about coming together, games are about being social, games are about playing by the rules. They're not about making a profit. That's why we have jobs, essentially, right? And if you think about jobs, we still follow a set of rules and we get rewards, so they're very similar to games. But anyway, so honestly, I don't understand Web3. I hope it makes it. I hope it turns huge, and I hope it brings more people into the gaming industry. Now my experience with PC and console is also very limited. I've done Xbox at Gameloft, but that's about it. So I don't get it. I don't know enough about it to speak about it.
But you are an user at the end of the day.
Well,
You
yes,
play
yes, I can.
for a long time.
I can make game recommendations.
What's your favorite platform?
Well, right now I still think it's mobile. I haven't touched the game
And
controller in.
If I may add another dimension, portables as in Steam Deck,
Yeah.
the Rogue Ally,
I
mobile
love,
PCs, basically.
I would love to get my hands on one of those. I would love to spend time with it. I can't think of a title right now that I would play on a Steam Deck rather than on a PC. Does that make sense? I don't. Can you think of
No.
one?
It's still a PC,
Right?
So
Because-
portability is
yeah.
the number one aspect,
yeah.
advantage.
Yeah, but I'll just carry my laptop around. I have a gaming laptop. It's heavy, sure, but I would rather carry that than anyway.
Besides the notebook?
Plus my phone, plus my iPad. So I still play a lot of mobile games. I average about 2 to 3 hours of mobile games per day.
Wow.
I like them. I make them, and I still think that there's something about mobile that just puts it head and shoulders above everything else. Because if you think about it, there's if you think about it, it's everyone has a mobile game. Everyone has a mobile phone in their pocket, and not everyone considers themselves a gamer. And I know so many people that would argue that they're not a gamer, but they play a lot of mobile games. There's 3 billion people out there in the world that identify themselves as gamers right now.
Wow.
That's a lot. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Right. So it's definitely more people play games than watch movies. More people play games than
Really?
listen to music. Yeah, because I think we were looking at some statistics. We do this. We do this. What should we call it?
Our workshops
Our workshops. Yeah.
with the students.
Yeah, we do workshop with students, and we tell them about the size of the game development industry. And back in, I think, 2017, the game development industry combined was making more money than movies and
And
music.
music.
Yeah,
Seriously?
yeah.
Yes. It
So
was incredible when I found
Wow.
out this. I couldn't imagine. I thought Hollywood plus Bollywood
Mhm.
plus music.
Yeah.
Well, it's not enough.
Wow. So it's still in relatively untapped potential.
you think about, yeah,
Wow.
it is because not like we know so many people that don't play games, right? Right. There's so many people that play games out there.
You don't necessarily need to be a hardcore professional gamer to call yourself a gamer. If you are spending, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes in a subway and you are playing a match 3, for instance,
Yeah.
almost every day, you are
Yeah.
a gamer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
You don't need
Pretty
to be the best shooter or the best strategist in a AAA game
Yeah.
to call yourself
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
player.
yeah, for sure. And there's people out there. I'm sure there's people on the internet that are familiar with the term "filthy casuals," right? But gaming is that big, and like, so 2017, it was doing. I don't remember. I want to say it was 109 billion, the size of the market. So if you consider the fact and movies and music combined with box office and streaming and everything, they were making this much money. Now, if you consider the fact that this thing, the pandemic happened and everyone went inside and they're playing games and they're no longer going to the cinema, they're no longer watching, they're no longer going to live shows and concerts, it probably doubled. I don't know. I don't know the exact numbers, right? But there's a lot more people out there who are playing games, specifically mobile games. I know that mobile is roughly 40% of the gaming market. So if you were to split the market in PC and consoles, PC, browser games, mobile, the biggest size of the pie is mobile. And I'll wrap this up. The reason is, number one, everyone has it, but then the other thing is it's so accessible. Like whenever we meet the kids, we ask them this question. I ask them, how long has mankind been around? Okay, so take a wild guess.
Then not 10,000. More than 10,000?
20,000?
Oh no, because I don't remember either. So we've been roughly working with tools for, I want to say something around 20,000 years. And by tools I mean very
Oh, that's a lot.
very basic. Use a rock to break another rock. But that's a tool essentially, and we started, like, one of the reasons why people evolved is because we learned how to work with tools. The other thing is, then we created all these tools, very elaborate tools, and then we end up making the PC, which is, if you come to think about it, if you think of the guys over at Microsoft, they're going to say they're all about enabling people to do more work. So they're tools as well, doing Excel and what we're doing right now. We're using tools. And there's a lot of people using tools. But it kind of takes a minute to learn how to use a mouse and keyboard and to learn how to use a software. But with mobile phones, you just touch it And
Go back
Mhm.
10,000, 20,000 years ago.
right? It goes back to just smashing stuff. It makes sense, like all that haptic feedback and instant feedback and instant gratification, and combine that with just lightning fast internet, continuous access to knowledge. I don't think mobile phones are going away anytime soon. I think they're gonna become even more part of our lives. I don't know if they could be more part of our lives. You guys probably have this. You leave your home and you check for your wallet and you check for your mobile phone.
Yeah.
And then if you forgot your mobile phone, you're gonna go back. If you forget your wallet, you're like, whatever, I'll pay with my phone. Right.
And let's consider that kids that are born these days, they are not in front of a PC, but in front of a mobile phone or a tablet. It's easier to start playing and finding fun on a mobile platform.
Yeah. So everyone's got access to phones, and I would say they're ubiquitous right now, and they're gonna stay like that. So I don't know what the future is. I'd have a lot more money if I knew what the future was and what's in store. Because it is very difficult right now to make a game on mobile. It used to be indie heaven. It no longer is. Everyone who wanted to make a name for themselves 10 years ago, they made a game on mobile back when there was the iPhone 2 and the iPhone 3. They kind of they democratized game distribution because they went around big publishers. Now it's no longer the case because big publishers now kind of own own the App Store and the Google Play Store. But we're definitely going to see more and more games and more complex games, just cross-platform games. I mean, it's Fortnite, right?
Yep.
PUBG, all these, they're just killing it right now.
Arc as well.
Arc, yeah, that game's amazing. So, yeah.
Were you guys expecting another answer? Are you fans of, I don't know, VR, AR, stuff like this? Hoping for different days in the future?
I'm waiting for it to actually be massively adopted, as it's still a niche in my opinion up to now, but I don't know. And can I just say, I love your guys' energy and passion. And the next question would be, how does Amber develop such an innovative, inclusive, passionate, and diverse culture within the company? And also, how do you listen to your customers and receive feedback with regards to your projects?
We have these forums. You want to take this and talk about culture?
Again, we will answer from different perspectives, but I think it's amazing. It's something amazing about this company. This is a totally Romanian. Today is a global one, but it started as a unicorn and still is a unicorn, an independent Romanian company. With these people back in those days, 2013, 2014, they all were and still are friends, and they wanted to make games, so they started to join Amber just because they knew who they were going to find in Amber. For years, yes, definitely I was helping recruiting, but when I joined Amber, I was recruiting also from my friends. I was the 7th employee of Electronic Arts Romania. In those days it was Jamdat, and then it was bought by Electronic Arts. So I'm working in this industry since 2005. I do have a gaming networking, and when I started recruiting in Amber, I was also calling my ex-colleagues. But first of all, the culture that was established in Amber was based on the fact that all these people that were joining Amber, it was not the fact that they knew each other, because they worked previously together and they worked well. So they start talking about Amber among them and starting to present Amber as it's a very big word as an employer, but as a company, as a place, as a community. Hey, come join. I'm already an employee here. Do you feel like coming and working like in back days next to me? And they were believing, and they still do, in the same values. They had the same passion. We do have the same passion and the same values, and we do believe in same behaviors. We do have a huge respect among each other. When I was hired and I started to recruit, definitely I was going within interviews with hiring managers, and one of our colleague was explaining all the time to candidates, hey, we do have one value, which is common sense. And I thought, okay, it's too little, too much, confusing. No, it's common sense. We do respect each other. We do work. We do fight because we do have different opinions. But at the end of the day, even when we do fight with arguments. Sometimes things cannot move because we do not align, because we do have different ideas. But it's about respect. It's about how we treat each other among each other. So yes, I believe that we people that are still in Amber, because people come and go during 10 years, you can imagine more than 3,000 people joined this company. But at the end of the time, those who chose to stay with this company, we do have and we do share the same values. And these values, yes, we do. If you access our website, you will also see there our 7 official values. But in the end of the day, if you summarize all those values, they are talking about how we treat each other. They are talking about people, because skills can be taught. We can learn. We do have classes inside the Amber, outside Amber, doesn't matter. Skills can be taught. We can learn. But if we do not match our behavior, our personalities, it's really difficult to be colleagues. We can be friends, we can go out for beers, but it's really difficult to create a product with money, with the deadline, and at least, but not just during, at least from 9 to 5, we come sometimes earlier and we leave later, but at least during these hours, first of all, we are there together to create something. It's a bonus that we know each other for long time. It's a bonus that during not only these 10 years, but in 20 years since we know each other, we became even relatives within this company. It's a bonus that we do go out on vacations together, but mainly from Monday to Friday, we are together to create a product. So it's about people. I think I was the 7th employee of Electronic Arts. I thank Mihai Pohonțu because he brought me there and he supported me to start my HR career in Electronic Arts. Dragoș Hâncu insisted to join Amber, and I'm really glad, and I thank him too. I saw during my career different types of management, different type of team dynamics. I agreed with some of them. I totally disagree with others. But today, I'm here because I definitely feel that only the people that I'm working with can give me the energy to wake up very happy in the morning and meet my colleagues and do stuff together. To pass over difficult moments, because you can imagine, and maybe you've heard from media, to be a global company, a Romanian independent but also global company with more than 1,000 employees, to be also a successful business, because at the end of the day, yes, we do games, yes, we come to podcasts, yes, we go to students and teach them gaming, but at the end of the day, we are a business. We need to live from this business. It's not an ONG, it's not our fun project. At the end of the day, if you are, and also during the difficult moments, you couldn't pass those difficult moments without the people around you. People that sometimes really concrete support you, or people that just ask you, I'm here, or let you know, I'm here if you need me. It's not easy, and maybe we will have time to tell you more about how these original IPs, Amber original IPs, were developed. If you're asking me, an HR person, what I saw, I'm not a game developer. Yes, I'm in the industry, I know a lot of about game development, but I'm an HR person. But what I saw, it was the struggle between the members of a team. Because they, yes, exactly. They were all experts, sometimes struggling to include juniors, talking about diversity, sometimes struggling including women. They were doing Cinderella Free Fall, a princess's game, only being men. So they were, yes,
it was 11 guys and one girl.
Yes.
Maybe
they were coming to each.
primary female audience game. So yeah.
They were coming to HR because we were two girls in HR, one in facility, one in finance, and they were asking us to be their game testers for the game. So it's really tough to, when it comes to skills. No, it's okay. These can be learned.
You started wearing a purse when you were doing Cinderella.
Actually, yes, and waxing your wax. Yes, and but which is harder is to deal with different types of behaviors and personalities. And it's easier when we do share common values. That's workable. Otherwise, it's really tough, sometimes impossible. And I'm pretty sure that from time to time people are leaving because they do not share these values, and it's fair, but I think this is about Amber and organizational culture. It's how we treat all of us, among us, and yes, definitely how we see people in the board, people in the... These are really strong words for us. We are all, not all, but most of us are friends. We know for quite a long time. And Gabriel was asking for my support to tell you the title, the role of one of our colleague in the leadership. I don't know them. It's Scott. It's our friend. Yeah. It's tough when I need to speak about board, leadership, management, maybe. But yes, at the end of the day, they lead all this organization, and in 10 years we experienced a lot, and we reached really important milestones. But how we advise each other, how we address an issue. Because when it's fine, when people are playing, when our portfolio is full of clients, yes, we do have time and energy for all good and nice stuff. But when it's tough, we are people too. and we digest sometimes really difficult bad news, but we need to understand that we have to communicate and to
Who will be there to support
Yes,
you and be by your side? Yeah.
yes. Imagine that sometimes, most of the times, the really impacted person, it's not me, the HR person, or him, the manager, but one of our team members who is going to be moved from a really nice, spectacular project on another one, just because the business needs that skills person on the project. And it's a decision, it's a business decision, but that person is really impacted. That person feels that I will go, I totally understand, but I'm not going to feel really, really good on that project. It's a match 3 casual game. So it's about, to summarize it up, it's about people. It's about how we treat each other. And if you don't have the proper environment, because what's proper for me might not be proper for you, if you don't have the proper environment during these lots of working hours, you cannot hang on in there. You can, but for a specific period of time. I'll let you say how you feel.
Yeah, it's the people business, really. It really is. Game development in so many ways is, if not, it's definitely not the people business, but it is a people business. Like Ana was saying, you can learn the skills, you can learn your Excels, you can learn your APs, you're gonna get better at drawing, you're gonna get better at making games in general. If you don't have the right people, it's very difficult to do it. Like, one of the reasons why I spent such a long time at Amber is because I think it's very important to make what you want to make with the people you want to make it with, if that makes sense. It's kind
Totally.
of, because it's like half of the fun is being surrounded by friends. And by the way, and this is a very young industry, right? So gaming has been around for what, 50 years? Tops.
Pong, I think, was the first game ever. But
Yeah. Well, there was one
so, like,
prior to that. There was one prior to that. It was a tic-tac-toe game. It was called Bertie the Brain. Yeah, but like no one played it. It was shown at the International Computer Fair, sometimes in the 50s, and then people in universities got access to computers, and go figure, they made all this calculus and they solved all these really difficult problems, and then they ended up making games because why not? But yeah, and like even with that, it's about people. It's about people being in front of a PC and going, all right, what if we play a game with it? It should be about that.
And the follow-up question that I mentioned, we're talking about people. How do you listen to people, your fans, and what role does this have in the development of a new project or IP?
I would argue that at least listening to the audience is easier than listening to the people around. Yeah. And the reason behind that is the audience is usually filtered, right? So we have all these tools that collects data, and we have KPIs, and we have like this. We have a first-time user experience funnel, and we have a retention tool, and we measure monetization, and we measure engagement. So there's these tools that listen to the audience and come in with the insights that make the game better, and that's essentially quantitative testing. And quantitative testing has been around for so many years. It's right, and that's easy. At the end of the day, dealing with that is a hard skill. Now, dealing with people that have opinions dealing with people that are maybe having a hard day, dealing with people that are going through a loss, or they're going through heartache, or they're going through anxiety, or they're just having a really good day, and you want them to shut the fuck up because you're trying to make it like, I've got this story to do. And you're like, no, let me put on my headphones. Go away. Because it's like with all relationships, at the end of the day, it never is just milk and cookies. It never is just sun and rainbows. You have to go through stuff with the other persons, and there's game development teams that are just 500 people. So it's 500 different daily experiences that you get to interact with. Well, and I mean not all 500, but like the biggest team that I've been ever part of was probably 60 people. And I didn't know 60 people. I didn't know what everyone did. I didn't even know all their names. And yet we somehow got along because there's this thing called culture that works behind it. So yeah, I think it's important to listen to your audience. It's way more important to listen to your colleagues and your friends. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And the next question, because we are still talking about people, I'm starting I want to be in the gaming industry. What are you looking for when you're hiring? What are the qualities that you look first on somebody that you want to hire? And everybody wants to grow with the company, and you said a lot that people grown a lot with the company as well. It grown.
So you were with our company, so look this guy.
Yeah.
This is what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Got a tattoo and plays games. Handsome. So if you don't have tattoos, you're not handsome, and you're not playing games.
You should.
You should, yeah, go get a tattoo. I mean, it's. I'll take a stab at it. Ana also has. I'm sure Ana has. What can you use there? How about you?
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
you
start.
yeah.
This is quite a discussion here, because as I was saying, first of all, we're a business, and people need to know that we are offering services. So we live from these. People do not come to Amber because they know from the recruitment process that they are going to work on that game or on the other one, like in other companies. So they know that they are going to work on different type of games for different types of clients. This isn't something that you need to be really fair with yourself and take into consideration to accept or to decline. We need a type of flexibility. If you want to, let's put it on the positive way, if you feel an opportunity for you, either it's an opportunity to grow, either it's an opportunity to diverse think, you get bored rapidly, but we need a type of flexibility. We cannot, in this company, afford to put someone on a chair and to stay forever there. Projects come, projects go, projects start, projects end, and we need an artist today. it's not that often, but it's an example. We need the same artist today here on this project, and in, let's say, 2 months we need him on another one. This could be a match 3, the other one could be I don't know, shooter.
Total opposite.
Yes, total opposite. Thank you very much. So we need flexibility if we are talking about this this company, if we are talking about Amber. And we explain all these things. I mean, these are not secret. We do not trick anybody during the recruitment process. We do really have really nice colleagues in TA, talent acquisition, and we really appreciate them for doing their job really well by explaining and making sure candidates not just hear but listen to what they say. So flexibility is one thing. We need, because we are an independent company and we live from what we generate, we need people that enjoy learning every day, mastering
Constantly learning.
Yes, it's a need for us. It's really necessary in all the
In
companies.
the entire world.
In the entire world. But if we make a mistake, in our case, it's really easy. The client is not going to pay the bill at the end of the month. So we need people that are really enjoying learning every day. Definitely we need team players, because we do not stay isolated in rooms. We do work in teams, and it's important to be a team player. It's important, and by team player I mean lots of things. It's important to listen. It's important to know how to communicate, because sometimes it's difficult. Imagine how it was for us in 2020 to go home, all of us. We were around 300-400 people in Amber. We were spending our every day together in a room, and next day we were all home for more than 4 years, because today we are still at home, and our communication skills definitely needed to be improved, to adapt. Yes. So you need people that communicate quite easy. We are all different, and some of us are introverts, some are us are extroverts, and so on. But if we find out, if we identify the channel, the communication, the efficient communication channel, this is the mastery. In the end of the day, we need to communicate efficiently. So flexibility, people who enjoy learning, team players, good communicators. It's more about behavior. Yes, of course, if you know as a recruiter that you are going to recruit a 3D artist, first of all, you will look on portfolios and you will look on candidates that the technical skills are absolutely a must. True. But sometimes when you do have 2 candidates, and sometimes, maybe most of the times, when you cannot hire both, most of the times we look at how they match with the people that they met in Amber. How the candidate did a better match with the people, that person, with the people that the candidate met during the interviewing process.
Yeah.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're gonna spend. It's like we're gonna spend. Think about it like this. You're gonna spend 8 hours.
Might as well get along with them pretty good.
Might as well, right? It's like, for some people, it's more than they spend with their girlfriend at home. So you do want to get someone, like for me, it's get someone who's proactive. Like you wanted them to do their stuff. Get someone who is product oriented. So they want to make games. They are crazy about games. And then good communication. Like that's the big, and you touched on this as well. Because how it goes is like, no one wants to carry the other person. So you do want to work with someone who is, well, I would say fortunately, No, I would argue fortunately, because if I have to carry, I mean, at some point, if you're my friend, I will get down in the mud with you if you're in trouble.
Right.
I will help you, but I don't want to, like, I'm going to carry you, but it's like, I have to do my job as well.
Right.
So you know what they say, that the team always moves at the speed of the slowest number.
Mm-hmm.
So we do want someone who's proactive. We do want to surround ourselves with people who are constantly on the lookout for, let me learn more, let me find out about the next game, I'll try this and I'll try that. It's important. Proactivity is important. The other thing is, I mean, do you want to make games with someone who doesn't know games and someone who's not passionate about games? And there's an argument to be made that maybe they'll come in with original ideas, but you know what? You want someone who is product oriented because you want to be able to learn things from them, and you want to brainstorm with them and understand new things. And then the other thing is good communication. So, because it will get down to very difficult long nights, difficult moments, and you do want someone who is vulnerable, who's authentic, who can communicate what they have on their mind, who can be assertive about how they feel, about what they need, without being a jerk. And again, because you're going to spend it's like basically what you'd look in a girlfriend. And by the way, ladies, call me up. Like, joke aside, at least 8 hours a day with this person.
Plug your Instagram now.
Yeah.
So moving forward, talking about all these skills, the skill sets, can you share a time when an experience, a project didn't go as planned, and what you learned from it, as well as the other way around, where all these skills contributed to something that ended up being phenomenal?
My projects never go off course, so I'll let Ana take this. All my projects.
I wanted to make a joke and say, oh, we will need another podcast. What went well and what didn't.
Yeah. So we can definitely talk a lot about things that didn't go that well.
You can pick for for this podcast. Definitely, I believe you have.
I have a lot of stories.
Yes, pick one.
A lot of stories.
Otherwise, we'll sleep here today.
Yeah.
Because I'm enjoying very much this
It's
podcast.
a good conversation. So the question is, what are some of the things that
You learned from a difficult time, a time of failure, and likewise from a success story.
So, I mean, success story, that's easy. Like 2 people in an apartment, that's the success story. And then I think Ana should tell you about Botashan, because that's another success story. And maybe...
You already spoke about Cinderella Free Fall, which was... but
sure.
The question is actually what you learn when you have success and what you learn when you fail.
No, but let me do failures first.
Failures first.
Failures first.
I believe that people are saying that if you are successful all the time, you learn absolutely nothing.
You can't learn if you don't fail. You learn more from failure.
So,
yeah. Failures. Okay. Yeah. For whatever reason, I keep thinking about my love life. But let's move on.
Not
from
today.
That. I mean, everything. Everything. I mean, depending on how you look at things, everything can be a failure or a success. I saw this thing. It's on my Instagram. Speaking of Instagram, there's this wall that's somewhere in the neighborhood of Bucharest that says, success is the ability of getting up from each failure and smiling, or it's something and just continuing to go. And it's something along those lines, right? Like I cannot think of any project, be it Cinderella, be it, I mean, even Amber as a whole, In the latest game that we're doing, that we're making a new Link Twin game. So they all have their hiccups.
Mm-hmm.
And with Cinderella, we were not ready. We had no clue about how difficult it is to make a game while you're building a team, while you're finding a place for your studio, while you're running out of money. So many things. But the biggest lesson that I ever got, because it's probably this theme is going to keep recurring in our conversation, is people. Get the right people for the right job. Like this is the biggest lesson that I had learned over the past years, and we brought in a lot of talented people in Amber, and some of them were very successful, and some of them were unhappy, and so because in the early days, I wanted to make casual games, and Raul wanted to make other types of games, and Ravish wanted to make other types of games. So, and this was our first experience together as a team that was at the helm of its ship. And we were trying to bring in all the talented people to help. So we brought in people that were making mid-core games, and we brought people in from Ubisoft, we brought people in from Gameloft, we brought people in from Electronic Arts, so people who worked on Assassin's Creed, people who did FIFA. I did FIFA when I was in Electronic Arts, and it was just mind-blowing. But it has a very doing FIFA requires a very specific type of person. It requires someone who should at least enjoy football.
Mm-hmm.
And so not everyone that was part of the original studio stayed around, and the reason was we were friends. We wanted to make games together. They wanted to make a type of game. We wanted to make another type of game, and at some point we ended up parting ways. So I want to say that's the biggest one. Get the right people for the job. And then the other thing was what we were discussing earlier on about there's a very specific portrait of the person, right? So they have to be proactive, they have to have good communication, they have to be product oriented. And if we can be friends, that's like a bonus.
I'll tell you what I learned from a successful story. Everything in this life is possible. Really, everything in this world.
Except most things.
If you really believe, if you give it a try, if you work hard, yes, all this, but everything is possible. We do have today a studio, a QA studio in Botoșani.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the only two people believed back in 2019 that we could have a studio in Botoșani. Mihai Poconțu and Laurențiu Rusu. Mihai Poconțu met Laurențiu Rusu, they talked about this, and today we do have 150 people in Amber Botoșani. Why the rest of us did not believe only for 1 second in this project? Because as you know, there is no gaming industry in Botoșani. Yes, we do have Iași, but it's not Botoșani. Not even in Suceava, so in the north part of the country, we do not have, in that part actually of the country, we do not have gaming industry. You cannot steal good candidates. You cannot start with people from Bucharest. Nobody really wants to move to Botoșani for more than, 1 week, 2 weeks. Let's take a trip to Botoșani and do what? We are not going to travel Bucharest, Botoșani all day, every day. Why creating a business in Botoșani? Well, Still, in 2019, Laurențiu Rusu with our recruitment team built 20 people that knew English, knew how to operate a PC, and knew and were very, very passionate about gaming and doing qualitative games. Yes, for more than 3-4 months, the people from Bucharest, QA leads, moved to Botoșani and trained these people. But today we do have one big building in the middle of Botoșani, in the center of the town near the mall. It's actually quite an iconic building because it's an ex-banking building. It's full of steel, glass, marble. We try to sweeten it up with our amber, which is yellow, but still it's quite impressive.
Looks like the Death Star, if you ask me.
Oh, well. People in Botoșani that are not yet working in Amber find this building like a meeting point. So people in Botoșani know about this. It's really, I'm really proud. I wasn't part of this. I visited Botoșani twice. But I'm really proud of everybody involved and people that are now there and manage the entire business there. I'm also really proud that during these 4 years, people who started as junior game testers, not even game testers, full game testers, but junior game testers, some of them today are doing what they are really enjoying to do, meaning that they migrated from QA to IT support, to game design, to art, management, and so on. It's really impressive. It's really impressive, and I believe these people are going to work every day, so they work from the office. Some of them that are not living actually in Botoșani are working from home, or some of them are living in Iași, Suceava, and so on. But otherwise, people do go to work there, do go to the office there. And it's amazing for me after 4 years what's happening there. From, yes, one person who had the idea, Mihai Pogonțu, Laurențiu Rusu came up with the idea. Mihai said, okay, sure, go. Nobody believed, but even commented, come on, one more crazy idea on our, yes. And today is, I think it's the most vocal and the most loud, successful story that I feel I have experienced in Amber. Definitely, every day is an experience in Amber due to the business, due to people, due to responsibilities, due to the fact that I'm colleague with Gabriel and we are doing lots of projects together, which are not game development related, but mostly educational projects we are doing together. But yes, this is the most visible, actually, the most visible successful story, besides the games and so on and so on, that you can actually go and see if you visit Botoșani.
Oh, and actually go on Google Maps. It's like you'll see the Death Star and it has Amber. But I want to add something to what Ana is saying, which is, this is not the first time Laurențiu Rusu opens up a studio. So Laurențiu Rusu, hey man, Laurențiu Rusu is the founder of Ubisoft Bucharest, and he pretty much changed the landscape of game development in Romania. So there were some there were some game developers, maybe, I don't know, somewhere there were people passionate about making games. This is early 90s. But this guy founded the studio, and it kept growing and growing and growing, and eventually the Guillemot brothers back then, who owned Ubisoft and also owned Gameloft. It was not Gameloft back then. It was called Ludi Games, Ludi WAP. So they opened up another studio in Bucharest, which was Gameloft, and then a lot of people from Gameloft migrated to. Oh my God! They got a job in Jamda, then eventually Electronic Arts, and you can kind of see the butterfly effect that starts from that. What I wanna and why I'm mentioning this is because I remember I was 20 when I got a job at Gameloft, and I remember it was this big open space, kind of like how you guys have it over here. Ton of PCs and people just playing games and interacting with each other in a very casual way. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I have found my tribe. It just felt good. Walking in there felt good. Not to mention that in the first day of work, so I go into the interview and I get a phone call the next day, and like, when can you start? I'll start tomorrow. But I took another week or so prior to starting. But then I walk in the studio on my first day, and there's this guy on my left-hand side, and he is just drawing a portrait with kind of like a big screen TV like you guys have over here. And there's another guy talking, and I remember thinking, what that guy is drawing looks a lot like the stuff that Andrew Jones does. And I don't know if you guys know Andrew Jones. It's not that, it's like he's an artist that was very popular. He's a digital artist that was very popular, and I had seen his stuff on the internet. Like, wow, that looks very Andrew Jones. And I look closer and I'm like, oh my God, that is Andrew Jones.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, he was doing a workshop for the Ubisoft people, because back then Gameloft and Ubisoft were kind of like on the same floor in the same building. And imagine the impact that has on the mind of a 20-year-old.
Oh yeah.
Because I decided then and there, that I was going to learn how to draw. I never did. I tried to, but it also got me thinking it also made me realize that, oh my God, there's a lot more about this industry than just games. And maybe I can do something. Maybe I can grow in this industry and build I wasn't thinking about a career as a 20-year-old. I just wanted to make money and play games. But it kind of like put this idea in my head. And this wouldn't have happened if Laurențiu Rusu hadn't, like, go back to the butterfly effect, if he hadn't started Ubisoft. And what I find interesting about what he's doing right now with Botoshen, that he's basically doing the same thing. And Ana was mentioning about people who went into game development by joining QA. And we have some very cool people even in Botoshen. We have really two great small, I wouldn't call it, I would say bigger success stories than Amber Botoshen. And I'm going to say hi to Eduard. Hey, Eduard. And to Andrei. Because these guys started in QA and they went into game design and level design. And they're killing it. And they're doing workshop in schools, and they're teaching people about game development. And right, so it's slowly but surely just making this dent in the world, and it's a good dent. It's changing the world for the better, because these guys finally, we were talking about guys who would give anything to be in the game development world, and now they finally have a chance. So yeah.
For me, it's more impressive that I've heard stories from people in Botoshan saying, hey, I'm coming back from UK. Yes, definitely, I'm not going to earn as much money as I was earning in UK, but I'm coming back home. Or other people telling me, hey, I just finished high school and I can still stay in my native town. I'm fine here and I don't want to leave. I don't want to move to Iași or to Bucharest unless for, I don't know, university and stuff like this. and you can say, hey, come on, they are young, yeah, it's the moment when they can travel, and but it's really important. Imagine us. Were we considering when we were in our 20s to leave Bucharest, unless to, I don't know, the western part of Europe?
I was going to go to Japan and marry a geisha.
Okay, but not to work there, just to marry.
They
Maybe.
just- well,
Okay,
us.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's really touching for me when I hear that there are today 150 roles for 150 people from Botoșani, and to understand that this company, all the people involved, changed lives. It's, for me as a girl, it really feels touching and good, and I don't know, bravo for everybody.
Yeah.
So no matter success or failure, it's about the people, as you said.
Yes.
Compassionate people.
Yes.
And that are willing to step up and teach you things so we're constantly evolving.
Thank you for saying this short sentence. Yes, indeed. This is the essence of what we talked to so far. Yeah.
So, what you can tell us about Amber influencing the gaming area and the gaming industry? Where, what's next?
Again, we do have two separate and sometimes common perspectives.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about Amber because I'm part of Amber, but all the companies doing the same efforts. We rapidly understood that we cannot rely on the public educational system. And we struggle, and we do have a program called Amber Academy. We are even also working and partnering with an ONG called Arden. We are going to even create, but it's for the moment I'm not going to tell the name, but we are working to create even a school, a private school. So we really work a lot to offer youngsters from the shortest type of educational program to the most complex one. We go to youngsters with, I don't know, just a presentation to let them know that there is gaming industry in Romania. You can have a career in Romania. You can even see retiring yourself from this industry. There is another conversation with parents who need to understand
It's
that,
an educational tool nowadays now.
today, when they will consider that their kids are staying too much in front of a PC, what they need to do is not just stop them, but guide them. What to do with a PC, what to do with a mobile phone, because they may have a real strong career in our industry. On the other hand, we do have colleagues teaching in Bucharest and outside Bucharest in public and private schools. We do have people teaching in the art faculty in Bucharest. We do have people, colleagues teaching game design, for instance, at the master that is at the acting, Cineting, which is the part of acting faculty. Acting and theater, I don't know how to call it in English.
Theater school.
Yes, theater school, UNATC. We do have people that are organizing workshops with real curricula and things that people are going to learn and use after they finish these workshops. So we are really, really involved in, and again, it's not just us, but I'm talking about Amber, to make sure that young people, high school kids, students, or even people that have graduated can find their way in our companies. It's tough. It's not tough to teach. It's tough to integrate juniors, because these guys are seniors. You know how seniors maybe sometimes really picky, or I don't know. I'm joking, but it's really tough to really know how to integrate a junior and to continue to grow that person. So this is going to be for the future. More and more young people in Romania will find out about our industry. Will find out that FIFA that they are playing is not made in US. It's made in Romania. Assassin's Creed is not made in US. It's made in Romania. It's fabulous. I mean, even Candy Crush. King was here in Romania for a while. They left several years ago, but we had King.
Wow.
Yes, so we are really good in this gaming industry, and this was the vision of those two co-founders, Mihai Pohonțu and Dragoș Hângu, when they started Amber. Put Romania on the gaming global map. But I will let you answer to this question too.
Yeah.
What's going to be next?
I mean, I just wanted to say that I consider myself a professionally decent guy in making games. And I don't know how we're doing on time, so I'll keep it super short.
This will be the
This
last
is it?
question.
This is
Yeah.
it. This is it. I'll keep it super short. I have no idea what's coming next. I think that it's it's a very interesting time in games right now. I think it's a very interesting time for game developers. The industry is going through a rough patch right now, but it will end, and I'm just trying to be an optimist.
Maybe this is another subject with another game developer in the
Yeah.
industry, because we are living an interesting year, totally different. We are in the industry since the beginning of 2000.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting this
It's a
year.
really
It's a
interesting
really
year,
a really difficult one, globally speaking. It's really difficult for everybody. It's a subject for an entire podcast, because among us, yes, we are asking
Yeah, but
ourselves.
let's not end on that. Let's
No,
not end on that, because I realized
it's new.
I
It's new.
realized I was having this Michael Scott moment
Okay.
where I started saying something and I didn't know where I was going with it. So we are bringing a game to Netflix Cloud really soon.
Okay.
And I don't know if you guys knew about this, but there's going to be games on Netflix. Right? So, well, there you go. We are, like Ana was mentioning, we're working on creating a School of Digital Arts, a University of Digital Arts. And also, I'm planning to go drinking tonight because it's Friday, and everyone should do that. Yeah, that's it. Should we end on that?
Yes.
Let's end on that.
I
Okay.
think it's a really nice response.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That
Cool.
was great.
Thank you very much, guys.
Can
Yes.
I just say hats off to the both of you and to Amber for all the wonderful projects that you're doing to keep this passion, this topic alive, and to promote it to future generations. That's just
Thank you very
Congratulations
much.
to you.
Thank you very much. This is new for us. You are new for us. Wish you good luck in this podcast project. Thank you for inviting us to open the first session. And I'm not trying to say just nice words. It's really an honor. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you as
very
well.
much.
And with that, that's a wrap for today's episode of Unity Talks comYunity Gaming. Once again, a huge thank you to Ana and Gabriel from Amber Studio for joining us today and sharing their invaluable insights. We dove deep into the evolving world of gaming technology, explored the art of game design, and peeked into the future of interactive entertainment. It's been truly an enlightening and thoroughly enjoyable conversation. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode and don't want to miss out on more fantastic discussions about video games and tech news, make sure to subscribe to our podcast. We'd also love to hear your thoughts, so join the conversation on our social media platforms, follow us on YouTube and Twitch, and be on the lookout for our upcoming comYunity gaming page on the internal Unity platform. You will not be prepared for what we have coming. And a special thank you to Laurentiu, our backstage tech experts, without whom none of this podcast would have been possible. Stay connected for updates and behind the scenes content and exclusive sneak peeks. And until next time, keep gaming, stay curious, and be a part of our community at YUNITY Talks. Goodbye for now, and remember that in the world of gaming and technology, there's always something new to discuss. And just speaking of something new, let's remind you that for the FC24 Championship, which will be announced soon, absolutely all prizes can be seen within this podcast from start to end. And with that, that's a wrap. Goodbye, folks.